See the flags there for IFP supporters, waving them high as they anticipate their leader coming to make his mark in that particular part of South Africa, as I mentioned.
Yes, passionate support in Alindi and surrounding areas for the IFP. They've, of course, if you look back at 2009, the IFP did quite well in that election. They secured, I think, 13 seats overall, quite a few seats in Parliament as well. Under pressure at the moment, though, the IFP in KwaZulu-Natal because of the new formations there. It's an area that's been marred by political violence and political intimidation and a lot of intolerance. And, you know, I pointed out earlier, the IFP leader said he was wondering how free and fair the election will be. I think now that he's voting, he might be singing a different tune.
A different tune, yes. Of course, you speak of the NFP when it comes to the IFP, and many people saying that they should not let go. They should not have let go of Zanele Mgwazana-Msibi. She's proving her worth all of a sudden. But let's turn our attention back to what's happening in KwaNxamalala, in Nkandla, at the Ndolwane Primary School. That's, of course, where you can find President Jacob Zuma this morning. He's whipped out his ID cards. Everything's been checked. They made sure that everything was in order, and indeed it is, because he's progressed to the next stage of the voting process, just meeting some of the officials there, and he'll be making his mark and casting his ballot. We saw our very trusty reporter, Mzwandile Mbete, there a little bit earlier, being a true journalist, trying to doorstop the president to ask him if he was feeling very enthusiastic. And yes, President saying that he'd like to speak afterwards, of course, but he was feeling very enthusiastic. But yeah, that's what we do as journalists, don't we?
The president, I must say, was all business. Walked in there with great purpose, coming to make his mark, and you know, one have to give, I suppose, kudos to Zwayambeje, who's on the beat as always with the president, trying to get the president to say something. He wasn't going to give away the game beforehand, as it were. A little bit earlier, let's hope the president gets it 100% right. Of course, a little bit earlier, Helen Zille got it wrong when she put her ballots in the same box and caused a little bit of consternation.
A little bit of a stir, but we have it on good authority. Speaking to IEC Deputy Chair Tselane, he said it's not a major train smash. They will be able to sort out the votes for the National Assembly and the ones of the provincial legislature, because some people have put them both in the same box, but they're marked differently. So the IEC officials, when they do count, and the auditors are there, and the party agents and the observers, will be able to make sure that each vote goes to the right party and it goes to the right category of voting, whether it be it national or provincial. But yeah, we continue just to keep a watch on what President Jacob Zuma is doing at the moment as he makes his way through the voting stations. I think, Eben, you can talk to us about this as well, just the general process, making sure that your ID is at hand. And if you don't have it for whatever reason, it is very late for you to whip one out. But I know some journalists are only trying to find them now and have had to go to Home Affairs to get temporary IDs. But that's something that you can do this morning as well.
Yeah, you can do that this morning. Of course, a lot of people are in a bit of a flat spin today. It's also a public holiday, so there's a sense that things are happening a little bit slower today. But you can save it still at the last minute. Of course, we're watching live pictures coming to us from Nkandla in KwaZulu-Natal, where the state president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma, is about to make his mark in election 2014 here in South Africa. If you're watching outside of our borders, KwaZulu-Natal is on the eastern coast of South Africa. We are at Nkandla, as you see there at the back. Oh, we're going out of focus. The president going into the voting booth, making his mark. Secretly so. I see they're not allowing us behind the ballot box this time, Ayanda.
Definitely not. And yes, just having some conversations again. I'm going to quote him because we've been speaking to him throughout the morning. The deputy chair of the IEC saying no selfies allowed. Don't take chances. Don't try and take pictures of yourself in the booth. Although we have seen some of those selfies floating around. Don't do that. That's not advisable. It can be a hefty either fine or even jail time of up to a year that you can face if you do that. But that's a practical guide of what you can expect when you do go to a voting station. You can see the IFP leader there, Dr. Mangosuthu Buthelezi, just assisting an elderly lady who was trying to get a seat and sit down there. He pulled up a chair like a true gentleman so that she could sit down, and he will be making his way to vote as well. Make sure you have your ID in hand, just as you can see the president to your left of the screen. Just do all the processes that are necessary in order for you to make your vote. And just to correct myself, it wasn't an elderly lady, but but the leader's wife who was with him, and I think it's very great to see that he is gentlemanly and able to pull up a chair for his
lady,
wife.
Ayanda.
Well, I meant that because there was what is that? Assisted walking.
Walking.
Is it a walker?
Walking stand.
Walker. And there's nothing wrong with being an elderly person. You know, we have the elders, the group of elderly statesmen who come alongside us and help us and show us the way. And it's elderly people like that who made sure that even you and I could vote today. What are you talking about?
I'm on shaky ground because I always get it wrong when I use the word elderly in conversation with ladies, because they never take too kindly to that kind of thing. But you're still watching live pictures coming in from Nkandla, where President Jacob Zuma just voted. And of course, on the right-hand side, on that split screen, you see the leader of the Inkatha Freedom Party, Mangosuthu Buthelezi, about to make his mark in what will be a hotly contested election in KwaZulu-Natal. Big strides have been made in that province by the party of the National Freedom